Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave on the Township website and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall. We request anyone wishing to address council, please wait for the mayor to recognize you. Please state your name and address for the record. And please remember, all comments must be kept to 3 minutes or less.
Thank you. Can we please stand for pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad?
Here.
Councilmember Coons? Here. Councilmember Roy?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Here.
Mayor Sippel?
Here. Okay, we have no work session. We'll slide down to the consent agenda. Does anybody from council have any comments on the consent agenda?
No comments from me.
No comments? I will comment on the audit we received, Resolution 2021-248. I kind of read through the whole document. It was interesting, but there was no recommendation from the auditor. Do we make any changes in the township? So I want to give Lauren Reed a good job. Thank you very much. Okay, so. Yep. Thank you, then. Okay, anybody from the public want to comment on the consent agenda? Close the public portion.
Approval of the minutes from July 19th, 2021, Resolutions 2021-246 through 250, and Ordinance 2021-19, an ordinance amending Chapter 592 Taxation of the Code of the Township of Lower to impose a transfer tax on the sale of cannabis by licensed businesses operating within the township and a user tax on concurrent license holders operating more than one cannabis establishment within the township. This is the first reading of this ordinance. The second reading and public hearing is scheduled for September 8th.
Okay, we have a motion to move forward.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coons?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2021-16. This is a bond ordinance providing for various 2021 capital improvements by and in the Township of Lower, County Cape May, State of New Jersey, appropriating $730,000 therefore and authorizing the issuance of $680,000 bond or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. This is the second reading and public hearing for this ordinance. This ordinance has been posted, published, and made available to the public.
Okay, any council comments? No council comments, or anybody from the public who can comment on this ordinance only? Close the public portion. Is there a motion to move forward?
I'll make a motion. I'll second a motion.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coons?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2021-17. This is a bond ordinance providing for various roadway and drainage improvements by and in the Township of Lower, County Cape May, State of New Jersey, and reappropriating excess bond proceeds in the amount of $3,000,000 to finance the cost thereof. This is the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance. This ordinance has been posted, published, and made available to the public.
Thank you. Any council comments on this ordinance? No council comments. Anybody from the public want to comment on this ordinance? Close the public portion. Is there a motion to move forward with this?
Motion. I'll second it.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coons?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2021-18. This is a bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 17-10, which provides for various roadway and sidewalk improvements to Beach Drive. Heretofore finally adopted by the Township Council of the Township of Lower and the County of Cape May, State of New Jersey on August 7th, 2017. This is to amend the description set forth therein This is the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance. This ordinance has been posted, published, and made available to the public.
Anybody from council want to comment on this? Anybody from the public want to comment on this ordinance? Close the public portion. Is there a motion?
I make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel.
Yes.
Resolution number 2021-251. This is a resolution to ratify a 4-year contract between Lower Township and the Lower Township Policemen's Benevolent Society, PBA, Local 59.
Sounds good. Anybody from council want to comment on this? I will comment, and, there's a lot of movement out there to fund the police. That movement's not alive in Lower Township. We do believe well-funded, well-staffed police force keeps the town safe, and I'm all for this contract. Anybody from the public want to comment on this resolution? I close the public portion. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Abstain.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Abstain.
Mayor Sippel.
Yes.
Resolution number 2021-252. This is a person-to-person transfer of liquor license 0505-33-17-006 from Jake's Bar and Grill to Bay House Restaurant, Inc. This transfer had been advertised as required by law, and no objections have been received.
Thank you. Anyone from council want to comment on this resolution? No?
I'll just say good luck to the new owners. Jake's Bar and Grill has been a, pretty nice staple in their restaurant and bar and, for a while, so good luck to the new owners.
Got that right. Anybody from the public want to comment on this resolution? Close the public portion. Is there a motion to move forward with this?
Make a motion. Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel.
Yes. Okay, get down to the manager, Mr. Laffey.
How you doing, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council? I just have a few things to report on. I want to highlight Clem Mulligan Sports Complex. The work began on June 28th down there. The demolition is pretty much completed, and the site work is underway. And again, the estimated completion of this project is late January, weather permitting. So I think they've done a quick job of getting that place cleared, and can't wait to see what happens with the project as it moves forward. We were also able to sell some of the playground equipment there through the purchasing department for nearly $10,000, so that's a plus, instead of just using that equipment that was there. Something else I'd like to report on is some of the flooding issues that we've been working on here in Lower Township, starting with the issue that we have on Cloverdale, Evergreen, and Spruce Avenues. The township engineer finished a survey there, and right now we're waiting for a written report and recommendations to mitigate the flooding in that particular area. Some of the things we discussed is to create underground storage with recharge pipe to allow for better drainage and seepage, and minimize most of the water flowing to the low points on that road. We're seeking grant funding to offset the project with FEMA, as well as a small cities grant, and potentially using some of the American Rescue funds next year if needed to assist with that project. And then we've had few flooding issues over in the Diamond Beach section of Lower Township, one being on Rochester Avenue. And again, the stormwater inlets were inspected by the engineer and were properly cleaned, and they're currently functioning properly. That's something the Public Works did about 2 weeks ago, or maybe like 12 days ago. Since then, we've also met with the mosquito department. They have a vested interest in that area too, to keep those storm drains clear. So they're assisting us because they have a standing permit to help with potentially cleaning. They mowed at the end of Rochester so that we can do a survey of that space to make sure that we're on our property rather than the private property that runs off of those paper streets into the marsh. And they're actually going to excavate the end of the outfall pipe and extend that drainage into the marsh to help evacuate some of the stormwater that builds up on those inlets and on the road from time to time when we get heavy rains and flash flooding. So hopefully the drainage will be a lot better when we're finished with that project. We all seem that would be the fix that we're looking for that particular area. We've also met with the director of this area is at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Refuge. That's on Madison and Seaview Avenues there, because we have some flooding issues there again. When we get quick, heavy rains, sometimes the seepage isn't very quick, and the water kind of stays in the inlets there. What we're doing is on the refuge project, or the refuge property, we're working again with the mosquito department to clear a swale that exists there along the fence line. And right now, it's so overgrown that we have to cut it back, and then we're going to grade it properly. And that, again, will create some more storage in that area for water and allow it to seep into the ground before it goes into the marsh. And we'll probably also clean the outfall pipe there as well and see where we are with that. I know several years ago, the county put some inlets along that road, and that really did significantly help with the flooding at the end of Seaview Avenue in Madison. It was a lot better than it used to be a couple years ago, for sure. And again, it's working in hand with the mosquito department, the county, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife director for that refuge. That's all I have right now. Once that swell is cleared, it'll be maintained by the Public Works Department, again, with the approval and assistance of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife folks at the refuge.
All right, good job. Stay on top of that, Michael. Anybody? Anything to add? Okay. Okay, now we open up to the public. Anybody from the public want to come up and comment on anything at this time? Yes, sir. Just please come up to the microphone.
My name is Frank Garcia. I'm a resident of 205 Lenox Avenue. At the suggestion of two police officers who responded to a call in our neighborhood last weekend, I think it was Friday, they suggested I come here, or what our local residents come here for further suggestions on seeing what we can do. We've lived in the neighborhood since 1999 and have never had any disturbances. We had several new families move into the neighborhood last summer. One family, since they have been there, we've had at least 2 police calls involving a disturbance. The first one right after they moved in, where they had so many people at this teenager's party, they got into fights with the local neighbors. A fight started. They ended up at the house next door to me. They hit one of my other neighbors with a car. And the police basically said, well, they haven't seen anything that they can respond to. This last weekend, it wasn't quite as bad, but this started between 10:30, and the police finally didn't get the people out of there till 2 o'clock in the morning, and said that they were parking on a public street and there's nothing they can do, nor anything that they could do because they didn't see anything. And it was later heard by one of my other neighbors that the 2 officers that responded said they don't like responding to calls in our neighborhood, which to me is unacceptable, especially since I think at least one of those officers went to high school with one of my kids. So they suggested we show up here to see what additional action that we can take. I did call here and find out that I can do a request to police to do a traffic study, because in addition to the problems we've had with the unruly parties, there's been an ungodly amount of traffic up and down the neighborhood at all hours of the night. And during the daytime, we have kids there. My grandson's visiting, and we do the scooters down the street because it's a cul-de-sac, and normally there's not a problem. So I would just like to know what other actions that could be taken to at least put a control on this one kid who seems to be the source of inviting all these people. I mean, last weekend, they parked in the cul-de-sac because the house is in the cul-de-sac. The cars were parked all the way to the end of the cul-de-sac, and I think a second call was made by another neighbor who got into it with a kid who got his tires slashed. So, 2 cases like that in 20 years, it may not sound like a lot, But when you're living in that neighborhood, it is. One of the newer residents who lives right next door to these people, her husband just died not too long ago, and she's contemplating selling her house because she doesn't feel safe. So I would just like to make sure that you're aware of the issue, but maybe offer me suggestions to what we can do as residents of that neighborhood to see, to help stop this, whether there's curfews for that area or what. So,
Mr. Garcia, what I recommend you do after the meeting's over, get your contact information, give to the manager, and you guys meet during the day, and he'll contact the chief of police. We'll come up with a plan.
okay, thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public want to comment or anything? Okay, we'll close the public portion, and we'll slide down to council comments with Councilman Conrad.
Nothing tonight. Stay safe. Hopefully the numbers stay on our side. Have a good night.
Thank you. Councilman Coombs?
Agreed. Nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Roy?
Just a quick note, the past 2 weeks, we've seen 2 major fires here in the township. Both times, the volunteers responded and were able to handle the situation. If you have a friend, a family member, or perhaps a neighbor that's involved in the volunteer fire service, be sure to show them a little gratitude and thank them for their contributions to the community. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
I'd just like to thank Mr. Laffey for the hard work he's doing on the infrastructure problems, the flooding. One thing I think that a lot of the residents of the township have seen when they come in and they have an issue, it gets addressed, and it takes a little time to get it done, but we're working on it. So thank you for addressing the infrastructure issues with the flooding. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a couple of things. Just a reminder, we have a fundraiser on August 25th at the Ferry. That's for the Children's Assistance Fund. We raise money for less fortunate families. Our August newsletter should be out and about this week. I got some numbers here from Inspira, our EMS provider. For the month of July, they're very busy. They had 383 calls, an average time less than 8 minutes, which I think is pretty good. Military Appreciation Night is September 17th. It's a Lower Cape May Regional Football game, and they're going to raise money for the Run for the Fallen. And that's all I have. We'll slide down to the closed session.
Resolution number 2021-253, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is a litigation update and attorney-client privilege.
Thank you. Is there a motion on this?
Make a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Zipper?
Yes.